Respect is one of those terms that very often crops up in conversation, and for good reason. It allows two people who disagree to maintain civility when appropriate. But there is also a great number of pitfalls, deliberate abuses of the term utilised to try and stifle discussion as opposed to nurture it. The very idea that you owe everyone some unquestioning degree of respect is one that degrades the very notion of respect overall. Hi there, my name is Peter or Ethel. I'm a grassroots humanist. That's to say I don't hold to or represent a larger humanist body or organisation. Today we're going to be talking about the values and perhaps more importantly the limits to respect. Hopefully doing away with this notion that you owe every person you meet said respect unquestionably. First thing first, I'd like to state that as a humanist we should approach new people with the notion that yes, we will offer them some degree of base level respect. This is simply good practice. But just because you begin with a certain degree of respect does not then mean that this is locked in place or it's, some sort of game show where you can't turn back and change your mind. You can react and adapt to that respect as new information becomes available. Now, this is something we don't really seem to have an issue with in growing respect, but when it comes to losing said respect, there's almost resistance to the very idea. Some of you may have noticed how I changed the outro of my videos from saying you show the person I'm responding to respect as a blanket statement to showing them a reasonable degree of respect. This was in no small part brought about by my response to certain Christians who gleefully boasted that they not only crippled their children's education, but that they routinely threatened said children with violence. As someone who has suffered domestic abuse, I saw this and I hit critical mass emotionally, letting the person know exactly what I thought about their abuse. And yet, whilst many people understood my very visible anger coming from a very human part of my identity as a survivor, some wrote it off as me simply taking things way too personally and failing to maintain the respect I should be showing, the respect I mentioned at the end of my video. I had thought at the time that people understood that there are exceptions to general rules, but seeking to avoid that in future, I decided to simply change the outro when I made the format shift. In effect, this is a form of tone policing, i.e., if you don't respond to me or the person I side with in the exact fashion I demand, I can simply write off your entire position, even if the thing they are supporting results in your response. The thing is, it's not always about the person I'm responding to. If they're abusive or in support of hearing abuse out, they're just going to rewrite reality to defend their actions. At that point, so-called debate is futile. This is what we call debating in bad faith. And if the debate is futile, why must you or I act as if it were different? When I get angry at someone boasting about how they abuse their child as part of some godly plan, I respond with anger for one very simple reason. Anger is a great motivator. People can hear that I'm angry. People can see why I am angry, and people can weigh up the validity of that anger, and if there is a genuine source of human anguish, that acts as a rallying call for others to combat that atrocity. Consider the Catholic Church in relation to the ongoing and systematic child rape by clergy in every country where they have a presence. Very often Catholics will label any anger brought about not only by their inaction in refusing to stop said abuse, but actually protecting the abuser and even blaming the victim sometimes trying to criminalize coming out about the fact that they were raped by clergy, they'll label that as disrespectful. I'm not sorry that you feel I am disrespectful. You're attempting to gaslight not just me as an observer who has been sexually assaulted themselves in claiming that it's the child's fault, but you are telling the children that they are actually to blame and that they should be apologizing to their rapists. That actually happens in some instances. This isn't some fringe group. This is the mainstream clergy. And it's not just the Catholic Church, by the way. All major denominations and religions are riddled with this sort of abuse. It plagues the religious community. Another myth about respect, or perhaps a collection of myths that sort of come under the same umbrella, is the idea that you have to respect someone for some arbitrary quality, such as their age or the fact that you may be related to them in some way. I recently got the first in calling out Linda Bellos, who went on camera and declared it open season for assaulting trans people specifically because they were seeking to gain equal rights under the law, and so I called her ethically rotted. The response I got was not one of understanding the abuse, but attempting to shame me into silence because how dare I say such nasty things about one of my elders. So I promptly informed the person that both the man who had domestically abused me and both the woman who had raped me as a child, both were my elder. And just as I could tell them to go fuck themselves, so I could also say the same to Linda Bellos. As for the idea that you have to respect family, coming just after the holidays, perhaps this is a great myth to debunk. It's flat out false. Consider the man who abused not just myself, but my mum and my brother when I was a child. Thankfully, marriage never entered the equation, and I actually get rather repulsed when people who hear my experience call them my stepfather. But let's just say for a second that this had happened. Marriage had occurred. Let's just say my mum had got engaged, gone through the wedding, etc. Would that have lessened his abuse to any of us? No. Would having been a biological relative have done so any more? No. You see, you do not owe anyone respect. It's nice to give people a base level when you just meet them, but it's not just a case of they need to earn it if they want more. They need to maintain that base level if they want to keep seeing it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on respect. I hope you have enjoyed, as it's certainly a pleasure for me.